Mrs. Helen was an old woman who lived alone in a small, quiet house near the road. Her house was small, with white walls and a wooden door that made a soft sound when it opened. Every morning, she woke up early, washed her face, and sat near the window. From that window, she could see the road clearly. She believed that one day her son would walk on that road and come back to her. Her son's name was Daniel. Many years ago, he went to the city to find work. At first, he wrote letters and sometimes called. Mrs. Helen kept all his letters in a small box under her bed. She read them again and again. But slowly, the letters stopped coming. The calls stopped too. Still, Mrs. Helen never lost hope. She believed her son was alive and would return one day. I started working for Mrs. Helen as a helper. I cleaned the house, cooked simple food, and helped her walk. She was kind to me. She treated me like family. Every day, she told me stories about Daniel. She talked about his childhood, his smile, and how he loved her cooking. Every morning, she asked me the same question. Did Daniel write a letter today? At first, I said, no, not today. She always smiled and replied, it's okay. He will write tomorrow. One afternoon, a postman came to the house. He called Mrs. Helen's name. She was sleeping, so I opened the door. The postman gave me a letter. I saw Daniel's name written on it. My heart started beating fast. I went to the kitchen and slowly opened the letter. As I read it, my hands began to shake. My eyes filled with tears. The letter said that Daniel had died in an accident 1 year ago. It said he was gone forever. I felt like the floor disappeared under my feet. I sat down and cried silently. I looked toward Mrs. Helen's room. She was still sleeping peacefully. I thought about her weak heart, her tired body, and her daily hope. She lived only for one thing, waiting for her son. I was scared. I felt that if she read this letter, her heart would break completely. So I hid the letter inside my bag. When Mrs. Helen woke up, she came to the window as usual. She smiled at me and asked, did Daniel write today? I looked into her hopeful eyes. I could not speak the truth. I softly said, not today, maybe tomorrow. She nodded and smiled. Tomorrow is a good day, she said. That night, she talked for a long time about Daniel. She said when he came back, she would cook his favorite food. She said she wanted to see him before she died. I listened quietly, my heart heavy with pain. After she slept, I went to my small room and cried. I asked myself again and again if I was doing the right thing. I felt like a liar. But I also felt like I was protecting her heart. The next morning, Mrs. Helen felt weak. She could not walk well. I helped her sit on the bed. She held my hand tightly and looked at me with tired eyes. She said, promise me one thing. I said, what is it? She whispered, promise me you will stay with me. I don't want to be alone. My throat became dry. I nodded and said, I promise. That day, she did not go to the window. She stayed in bed and rested. I made soup for her and fed her slowly. She smiled at me and said, you are like my child. Her words hurt my heart deeply. That evening, I took out the letter from my bag. I looked at it for a long time. I wanted to give it to her. But my courage failed me. I put it back again. I sat near her bed until she fell asleep. She was smiling even in her sleep, as if she was dreaming about her son. The letter was still hidden. The truth was still silent. And my heart was full of pain and love at the same time. Mrs. Helen's house was quiet in the early morning. The small wooden clock ticked softly on the wall. I sat on a chair near the bed, watching her breathe slowly in. Sleep. The sunlight entered through the window, touching her wrinkled face. She looked peaceful, as if she had no worries. But I knew the truth. I had read the letter that told me Daniel, her beloved son, had died. I had hidden it from her because I thought she could not survive the shock. Now, the days passed, and the weight of that secret became heavier on my heart. Mrs. Helen woke up slowly that morning. She looked at me and smiled faintly. Her eyes, still bright despite her age, searched mine for the usual answer. She asked softly, why doesn't Daniel call me now? Her voice was weak, but her hope was strong. I felt a pang of guilt. I wanted to tell her the truth, but I could not. I swallowed hard, and my throat felt dry. I whispered, he is very busy, Mrs. Helen. Maybe he will call soon. She nodded and tried to smile, but I saw the disappointment in her eyes. That day, I stayed close to her. She could barely walk, so I helped her move from the bed to the chair by the window. She liked sitting there, looking at the road, imagining Daniel coming back. She spoke slowly, telling me memories of her son. She said how Daniel used to laugh when he was a little boy, how he loved playing outside, and how he always said he would take care of her when he grew up. Her words were full of love, but they were also filled with longing. In the evening, Mrs. Helen grew very quiet. She sat in her chair, staring at the road outside. I brought her some tea and put it on the table. She did not touch it. She closed her eyes and muttered Daniel's name. I wanted to hold her hand, to tell her that everything would be fine. But I could not. I felt helpless. That night, she had a dream. She moved her hands as if reaching for someone. She smiled softly and whispered, "Daniel." I watched her sleep and thought about all the happy moments she had imagined with her son. I felt both comforted and sad. I wished I could take her pain away, but I could not. The truth was too heavy for her fragile heart, and keeping it from her seemed like the only way to let her live peacefully. The next morning, I woke up to a silence that felt strange. Mrs. Helen's bed was empty. My heart stopped for a moment. I ran to her side and saw that she had passed away peacefully during the night. Her face was calm, her lips slightly curved in a smile. It seemed as if she was dreaming about Daniel. I fell to my knees and cried, feeling both sorrow and relief. She had gone with hope in her heart, believing her son would return one day. After her funeral, people came to pay their respects. They spoke about how kind and loving Mrs. Helen was. Some mentioned Daniel and how much she had waited for him. I stood quietly, holding the letter that I had never given her. It felt heavy in my hands. I thought about all the days I had spent hiding the truth, all the nights I had spent crying in my room, and all the moments I had lived with guilt. A man approached me during the funeral. He was a friend of Daniel. He said, "Thank you for taking care of her. She always spoke about waiting for her son." His words made me pause. I realized that, even though I had hidden the truth, I had allowed her to live with hope, love, and happiness until her last day. My heart felt a mixture of sorrow and comfort. I went back to the house, now empty and quiet. The letter lay on the table. I picked it up and read it once more. The words hit me harder than ever, but I understood something important. Sometimes, the truth is too painful to give immediately. Sometimes, protecting someone you love means making difficult choices. Mrs. Helen had passed away believing in her son, full of hope and love. She had left the world with her heart still alive. I sat by the window where she used to sit, staring at the road. The wind blew softly, and I imagined her smiling at me from somewhere beyond. I whispered to the empty room, "I'm sorry, and thank you." Her life had taught me that kindness sometimes means silence, and love sometimes means carrying the burden of truth alone. From that day on, I remembered Mrs. Helen every morning as I looked at the road. Her hope, her love for her son, and her gentle spirit stayed with me forever. I knew I had made a difficult choice, but in the end, it gave her peace. I understood that love is not always about telling the truth. Sometimes, it is about protecting the heart of someone you care for, even if it means carrying the sorrow yourself. Mrs. Helen's story remained in my heart. Every time I saw a child or a mother, I thought about her waiting for Daniel, her letters, her smiles, and her hope. I realized that life is fragile, and hope can give strength even when the world is cruel. I learned that love is patient, love is silent, and love sometimes requires the heaviest sacrifices. Even though she was gone, I felt her presence in the small house, in the sunlight through the window, and in the quiet ticking of the clock. She had lived with hope, she had loved deeply, and she had left this world with a heart full of belief. I carried her memory with me, and the lessons of love, hope, and sacrifice stayed with me forever. After Mrs. Helen passed away, the house felt very quiet and empty. The rooms, once full of her small noises and soft laughter, were now silent. I walked slowly through the house, remembering every corner where she had spent her time. The small chair by the window, the table where she had eaten her breakfast, the bed where she had rested, all of them felt like they were holding her spirit. I missed her immediately, even though I had promised to protect her from pain by hiding the truth about Daniel. The letter that told me Daniel had died was still in my hands. I had never shown it to anyone. Now, it seemed even heavier. I sat down on the old wooden chair in her small living room and read it again. The words were the same, but this time I felt the sorrow of knowing that the secret no longer needed to be kept. Mrs. Helen had passed away peacefully, believing her son was still alive. The thought gave me comfort, but it also gave me guilt. I wished I could have held her hand and told her that I loved her, that she had been a great mother, and that she had lived her life with hope until the very end. After her funeral, I stayed in the house to clean and organize her belongings. Her small room had many things: a box of letters, a few photographs of Daniel as a child, and some of her favorite books. I opened one of the letters she had kept and read it slowly. Daniel had written about how much he loved her and how he would return soon. It was heartbreaking to think that she had waited for him all those years without knowing the truth. I put the letter back carefully, remembering how she had smiled every day when she imagined his return. During the days that followed, I thought about how much Mrs. Helen had loved her son. Even when she was weak, she never complained. Even when she waited and did not hear from him, she smiled and kept hope alive. Her patience and her love had been inspiring. I remembered her asking me to promise that I would never leave her alone. I had promised, and I kept that promise until her last day. But now, after she was gone, I realized how much I had learned from her about love, hope, and care. One morning, I decided to walk to the small garden behind the house. It was a simple garden with a few flowers and a small bench. Mrs. Helen loved to water the plants, and she often sat there, imagining Daniel playing in the garden as a child. I touched the petals of the flowers. She had cared for and felt her presence there. I whispered softly, "I hope you are happy now, Mrs. Helen. I hope Daniel is with you in a place without pain." Tears fell down my cheeks, but I also felt a strange peace. She had lived her life with hope, and she had died believing in love. As I cleaned the house, I found some of Daniel's old photographs. He was a little boy in one, smiling with messy hair and bright eyes. In another, he was holding a small toy, laughing as if nothing in the world could hurt him. I felt a deep sadness because I knew he had gone, and Mrs. Helen had never known. But I also felt grateful that I had given her the chance to live with happiness until her last moment. Sometimes, protecting someone you love is more important than telling the truth. Days turned into weeks. The house became quieter, and I started living there alone. I remembered Mrs. Helen's routines, her soft voice, and the way she always looked at the window, waiting. Her spirit seemed to linger in the walls, the furniture, and the sunlight that came in every morning. I talked to her in my mind, telling her about my day and how I missed her. It felt like she was still listening, smiling at me, and giving me the strength to move forward. One evening, I sat by the window where she used to sit. The sun was setting, and the sky was painted in orange and pink colors. I imagined her looking at this same sky, hoping Daniel would return. I whispered, "Thank you for teaching me about love, hope, and patience. I will never forget you." I realized that the greatest gift she had left me was her example of pure love. Even though she never saw her son again, she lived her life with care, kindness, and hope. The letter remained on the small table near the chair. I did not open it again. It was a reminder of the truth, but also of the choice I had made for her. Sometimes life requires hard decisions, and sometimes love is measured by the sacrifices we make for others. Mrs. Helen had taught me that hope can give strength even in the hardest times, and that love is sometimes more powerful when it is silent. In the months after her death, I continued to take care of her house. I planted new flowers in the garden, remembering how she had loved them. I cleaned her room and organized her letters. Each day, I felt her presence, guiding me, reminding me of her lessons. The love she had given to Daniel and to me had become a part of my life. Even though she was gone, she was still with me in memories, in the sunlight, in the small sounds of the house, and in the flowers she had loved. I often think about Mrs. Helen and Daniel. I imagine them together now, in a place where there is no pain or sorrow. I know she is happy. And even though the secret was heavy and painful, I am grateful that I had the chance to give her hope, comfort, and love until the very end. Her life taught me that love is not always about telling the truth. Sometimes love is about protecting hearts, giving hope, and living with kindness. Mrs. Helen's story will always stay with me. I will never forget her hope, her love, and her patience. I will never forget the lessons she taught me about life and love. She may be gone from this world, but her spirit will always be in my heart.